that I did meet a fair few years ago, is our special guest today, and I'm absolutely honoured to have her on the air. It is none other than the lovely Aunty Reio. Good morning, Aunty Reio.
Good morning, darling. How are you? Good morning, everybody.
Thank you for joining us this morning, Aunt. I know it's been a heavy 24 hours or even less since we played some pretty rare footage yesterday of Sorry Day. Where do we start? What does Sorry Day mean to you today in particular?
Well,
What do you think about? What goes on in your mind?
it's another day. It's a day that's just keeps reminders of the atrocities that we suffer as a First Nations people. The things that were happening before the apology, the things that, like I was at that rally and it just brought back a lot of tears as to who are here now to receive compensation. A lot of them are passed without receiving compensation. A lot of them are passed without being returned home to family. So, as I said before, it's become a little bit overwhelmed, you know. But, you know, it keeps me strong in knowing that I have family, community members supporting me today with our rally up in Preston, outside of the DHS office, Child Protection / Removal office. We, you know, it's a peaceful, quiet rally, but we thought we have to do it. Regardless of COVID, regardless of the rain, regardless of a lot of things. Even if it's, you know, they say there are about 30 people should only attend. So, you know, 3 people, 10 people, 30 people, that's still good enough. We're gonna, you know, why are we acting like stolen children are the elephants in the room? Why are we as a community acting like that? And I do say we as a community, because we should have this fight every day, not once a year. We should have this fight every day. We've got allies in Parliament, Aboriginal politicians. We've got the commissioner who's with young, you know, children and young people. We have him there. That's his office. It's not a complaints office from the Aboriginal people, but he will follow up. He said he will follow up any, like if we have, I guess, questions about the department. But since Task Force 2000, 1000, the removal of our children has tripled. I think that's in about three or 4 years ago. So why is it happening on you know, a lot of Aboriginal peoples actually could use their influence to stop it. Why is it happening? When we as GMARs go in and hug a young mum who's laying in a fetal position crying for her baby who's been removed, and we, just non-lawyers, non-academics, just grandmothers and volunteers, we go in, we assess the situation, and that baby's back with that mum in 2 days. So why was the removal necessary in the first place?
So,
too quickly.
And
it's just one of the stories, Aunt.
What? So, you just described a little snippet, perhaps, of what happened. So, are you saying that if you're not there, which has been the case for a long time, for so many years, it has been going unwatched. Things are happening. It's taking someone like yourself and the incredible work that GMARs do. That's all it took to stop something happening. It's almost like someone catches them out and goes, "Oi, you shouldn't be doing that," and they don't do it, and they walk off and continue doing it. Is that what's happening? can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you, Aunt. Hang on. Did you turn your volume off? Hang in there, everyone. I'll call you back. Hang in there, peeps. This is really important to be able to talk to Aunty Rieo. So, if you've got any questions, here we go. If you've got any questions for Aunty Rieo, please use this time. Use this time to answer.
Yeah.
There you
Hello.
are. There you are. Thanks, Aunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
did you hear the question?
Oh,
Did you hear my
the
question?
camera on my laptop's not working now. This volume not working. Oh.
Sorry, Aunt. Yeah. Did you hear my question before the volume cut out?
No. Can you ask it again, Dolph?
So you're saying that is it true to say that if you are not intervening, children are still being removed from their mothers?
Well, it's just lucky that we're around to intervene, because the interventions occur sometimes after 5 o'clock, sometimes on a weekend, you know. So we get called. We just because we're aunties, or just because they know that we can say, well, what are you doing on the property? If there's we had a case where police officers went to a house at 7 in the morning on a Saturday, and they said, they said that the police were there to line up the children to do a welfare check. And I said, well, no, we've done the assessment and the welfare check yesterday. Is the department with you? They said, no. I said, is Wakijika with you? They said, no. I said, well, you need to get off the property because we've done the assessment already. And thank goodness they've heard about GMAR and they left the property. But that traumatised that young mum with 7 children. You know, there's no longer the boogeyman under the bed. There's DHS or DFF H, Department Fairness and Family Services. Don't know where the fairness comes in. But look, we have a right to be angry, darling. You know, we have some good workers. We have some people in the community, some workers saying there is a need for children to be taken. Yeah, there is sometimes. But ensure that they go to family. Ensure that they go to an Aboriginal family. If not, ensure that the Aboriginal placement principle is being implemented. So that's what we talk about, you know. Sometimes you can't, sometimes you can't stop it from happening, but you can be there to support the whole family, not just the child, because, you know, when the baby was born, it came with a mum and a dad. She or he, you know. So we, as much as we can, use our knowledge, because we know about Dadi Manwara, we know about Noogle program with Waka, we know about Wakijika, we know about VARs, you know. We know about drug and alcohol programs.
Going back to when the Bringing Her Home report was initiated, what initiated the Bringing the Home report?
Well, there was a lot of people taken, and it started of the stolen generation. This is from what I know. But out of that, I think only, and I'm not one to talk on this because I don't know too much about it, but it was only 24 programs implemented as opposed to 80 in their Bringing Their Home report. So I could be wrong about the numbers, but it's still not good enough. How that's been ignored.
Your phone's going hot. You got a huge rally coming up today, don't you? Probably everyone's asking what's going on, where we going, where we meeting, who's going, what's happening with COVID.
Yeah. Well, we're at 679 High Street, Preston.
Yep.
It's happening all around Victoria. We have a big contingency, a big group meeting up at Bairnsdale.
Yeah.
That's where one of our GMAR representatives are. We have another one in Ballarat. We have another one down at Warrnambool. So, it's standing outside with your placards, your banners, and, so just saying, letting them know, saying sorry is means you shouldn't do it again. And it's not enough.
I love it. I love it. You're such a good auntie.
Yeah, well, just wait until I'm finished here, darling. Okay.
Okay, Nan.
My old phone's knocking up, but I've got to fix it. But busy day today. We're still looking at people coming down. The police said to me, there's only groups of 30. And I said, well, I'm glad you said groups because we're going to have one group, but we're going to have another group down here and another group of 30 here and there. Yeah. So you can imagine, we're going to do our best for to be COVID safe and stuff like that.
I want to tackle some common things, hopefully for the listeners to be able to walk away and say, the next time they might be in a conversation with someone and they're not knowledged up. Someone says, oh, well, they probably deserve to be taken away because they weren't being looked after. How should they respond to that?
And that happens. Then we go in and we pick the mum and dad up, we hold them, we ask them, we wrap our arms around them. They feel worthy. The next minute they're complying with a lot of the things that the department asked of to provide safety. Now, those concerns the department have, we don't ignore them either.
Right.
But we ensure that the last resort is to remove the child. So if mum and dad having a problem with alcohol, mum and dad are having a problem with drugs, we point them in the right direction and we walk with them all the time, all the way.
Mm.
So they've got someone there now saying, You're worthy, your babies love you, and you can do this. And with our success rate, our little voices or our strong voices is been very good for our community. So we like to say that GMAR is the village that raised a child because all of these policies about child removal has disintegrated that analogy, the village that raised a child. Now an uncle puts up his hand to care for his nephew. Oh, no, you can't do that. You had a BB gun when you were 13. Well, I'm 35 now. So why should that stop,
Yeah.
So all these silly barriers, and we look at them, and then they... Well, I do, and I'll just say, seriously, can you turn that off? Turn it off now.
Why?
Because I'm on the phone, I'm being interviewed.
Interviewed by Channel
Turn it
7.
off.
This is big time. This is on... Tell it to Ch-
Look, it's going all around. Turn it off.
It's beautiful. Who's living with you?
This is the kid that follow me around.
Yeah, and how important is, you talk about GMARs, and I think a lot of people would resonate with the power and the intuition and the love only a woman can give. How important is it that the man is involved? And do you look at that as well? Because I'm having a look at the site from GMAR, I think it's in New South Wales, but they're saying that they want the men to be involved as well, not walk behind us, not walk in front, but support the women. Do you notice that?
They walk beside us, darling. They walk beside us, and we acknowledge the fact that our men have gotten kicked in the guts because they used to be our leaders, They used to be there to uphold the laws and things like that. And with these policies of the white fellas, white's always right, it's like kicking our men in the guts.
Mm.
So we work with both. We work with the mum, we work with the dad. If there's domestic violence, we support them to Dari Manwara. We support them with anger management through VARs, because at the end of the day, that mum and dad will get back together but let's put things in place when they do get back together.
Why did you put your hand up, Aunty Rieo? Why did you put your hand up to be involved in GMAR and take on this very, very heavy load? Is it something that resonates personally with you?
Well, I was. My mum and dad were stolen, Jen. But we, I got told, oh, you poor kid, you didn't go to school much, you didn't even go to high school. But my backyard was the mountains, the valleys, and my swimming pool was the rivers and the waterfalls, and native animals were all my pets, and because we was always on the move, because mum and dad didn't want us to be taken, so we was on the move, but we weren't taken from their care, We lived out in the bush. I remember living in little humpies that Dad built, and Mum having tins of powdered milk filled with geraniums around the camp. So, a lot of people think it was a hard life as a child, but to us, we felt lucky. We didn't know anything, that was the norm. But as we got older and we see what's happening around us, there's no need. I'm GMAR now, grandmother against women, but I was always that, darling. We just got a name for it.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah. And I got to thank our president, Alison Fuller, and Lydia Thorpe for getting me involved, because she invited the New South Wales GMAR down, Lydia did, and then it went from there. So I have got to pat her on the back, got to give a big thank you to her. But we need to keep on pushing in Parliament. We need to keep on pushing for something to be made legislation, or even contact GMAR if there's notifications. If notification comes in on a Saturday, contact GMAR.
I know you've got to keep moving, Aunt, and I also respect that you had a very emotional afternoon, evening, and morning yesterday. So I do want to acknowledge that you do need rest before a big day. I do want to just touch on that petition that you talk about. So what is the? I'm going to put up a link to my listeners. What is the petition calling for?
I haven't even seen, but that was put out thing. It's to make sure that the apology, and I think it's about the apology. I haven't even looked at thing, darling, because the kids have got this phone and things like that. So,
well,
can you read it?
I can. It's I'm going to read it now. It's about 2007 Prime Minister Kevin Rudd delivering the national apology. 24 years after bringing them the home report, Aboriginal children are 10.6 times more likely to be removed from their families than non-Indigenous children. I just got to repeat that, 10 times more likely. It's not...
Absolutely.
It's not
it's
double.
So true.
It's not double. It's 10. It's 10 times more. Since Task Force 1000, the caseload of Aboriginal children being removed from families in Victoria has tripled, and we say enough is enough. The petition is recalling for the adequate resourcing of Aboriginal child and family services that play a key role, and you've mentioned some of them today, Aunty, and I'll put up a link to some of those services on our Facebook page. And what they do is play a key role in raising strong families and communities connected to their culture, such as Babup, Willem, and Yapra. The second thing they're calling for by signing that petition, people, is for governments to work with GMARs Against Removal Victoria, who provide 24/7 holistic wraparound support, 24/7, to ensure organisations correctly apply the Aboriginal child placement principles. That's what this petition is. People, if we've got a fair few listeners on right now, and this will be is recorded and placed on our YouTube and social medias, Aunty. So I'll be putting up a link with that as well to make sure people sign the petition.
Yes, and we're doing this with just depending on minimal donations. We pay the rent for supporting us to get into court, even getting to court and holding mother's or father's hand, even going into a house and assessing it we tell the workers, this woman needs support. You go there and you can't get ACCA or a VACA to attend, you ring us. We will attend. Even if you get the Kijika to attend, we attend, you know. So it's not like we're going in unannounced and, you know, like rogues or anything like that. We just go in, and we go in with the consent of the parent, because the parents are starting to hear that we're there for them too. Not every Aboriginal parent are bad people. Not every one of them, you know. And when they say and they need to change that in the court orders that the child was removed because may be subject to harm. Now, to me, that's every child in Australia, in the world.
Damn
that
straight.
little line,
So
may
true.
be subject to harm.
So that's been used against kids, against families at the moment.
That's been used against families, and you'd be amazed at some reports where we're assessing the family, and when the worker went out there with a Berry Street worker, I think, and they said the child came to the door with dirty feet. Yes, he was playing outside.
I can only
Who cares
imagine.
if it was, who cares if it was winter or summer or whatever? Building his immunities. Why is penalising the child for that? The child was removed until the grandmother fought for him and got him back to the parent, you know. So that's what grandmothers are doing nowadays within the Aboriginal community. We're a lot on the ground. We ask for help with lobbying. We lobbying for legislation and things like that. But we've got about 10 GMARs around Victoria, and I'm sure that'll be growing soon.
You do incredible work.
You know, we're there to look after our children, our future.
A few people have been on the chat. Stacey Piper said hello, Aunty Reio, and little Fenna. Tony, another listener. So much love for you, Auntie, and what you do. Another person said true. Alex, I love that you support whole families and that you love and hold the mums and dads who are suffering. Beautiful work. Someone
absolutely.
Yes, give support to GMAR. People are asking how they can support. You can see the link in the chat there. Please go to the GMAR. So it's Grandmothers Against Removals. And you can
Victoria. It's I'm pretty pedantic about this. It's GMAR Victoria, and there's also a community one where it's Grandmothers Against Removal Victoria. So just go there and go to the messages and our little admin. I'm not even doing that. I've got young girls, our volunteers doing admin, and I've got we got allies supporting us. You know, so. It's important that that petition gets signed. You know, it's just so important. Otherwise, it again will be put on a back burner like the stolen wages and all that. You know, that'll be put on the back burner. That'll become a thing of the past. You know, why are we making money for truth telling when we have stolen gens still waiting for their compensation? Where are they getting that money from? You know. We're hearing that the police station out of Faulkner was built by death in custody money. So what's going on? And that's the atrocities we hear that happens to our people.
So is GMAR is GMAR in Victoria?
Sorry.
Is GMAR in Victoria and New South Wales at the moment and trying to go to other states?
Yes, we've got Aunty Helen Eason up at in New South Wales. She was the one who's leading that. There's other ladies, I can't think of their names.
Yep.
I'm not too sure how they work. I think they work on a lobbying situation. We also have 3 ladies in Queensland and 1 in Tennant Creek. But again, the capacity they have, what to do, we're not sure. So here, we at least can go, we do go and visit the homes. We do go and, help them in courts, talk to them in courts. We do assist, like, we can expedite appointments simply because we know of the services that are around. You know, we know how to do genograms now. So if the department don't do a genogram on an Aboriginal child, they're being dismissive of, culture.
Mm.
And if they don't implement the Aboriginal child placement principle, they're being dismissive of the Aboriginal child's culture. And that's what we do. Well, all these officers around Victoria, I have a row with them, but they still call me Aunty. Some of the workers. Yeah. So, and, at the end of the day, we work for the family, and we do ensure that, okay, if it's unsafe, well, the child can go to an auntie, an uncle, or a grandmother, and let's just see why, Let's not kick mum or dad while they're down. Nobody's infallible.
What's the some of the key problems with children being removed from their families?
Pardon?
What are some of the key problems? I know that we could talk a lot about this, but what are some of the key problems that you're seeing, that you see quite often with children being removed from their families? What does that result in?
The main reason that'll come up is drugs and alcohol. Domestic violence, drugs, alcohol.
Yep. So
and then
children are turning to that.
If that's getting fixed up and being addressed by the parents and GMAR and Waka, there'll be other barriers like, oh, you have a history. And I go, look, I don't want to hear you say that, because Australia has a black history. I said, you need to learn that instead of bringing up the history. If a young mum has a baby and she was, in welfare when she was young,
yeah,
they will treat her and take the child simply because she has a history with the department.
That is off.
I said, that doesn't make her a bad mum. Let's teach her. But yeah, we got some good young volunteers supporting us. Us grandmothers, and then us grandmothers take up the work within the courts and stuff like that. We've got Desley O'Dwyer, who's an ex-journalist up in Bairnsdale. Our president, Alison Fuller, she's a representative in Warragul. Sissy Austin up in Ballarat. And then we've got, Janaea Ellis here in the Darebin area. We've got Kira Edwards over at Bundura. Natasha Corrigan over at Jacarnaway. So we've got a fair few in Metro, but, we have I guess, intake forms and things like that. But that's, it's like a community. We just do community things until we get bigger and better, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because there's always room to get better.
Yeah, your energy, your energy and enthusiasm and love for your community is unrivaled. I don't see.
Well, I've got people walking around with flags already.
It's so good. It's so good. People are saying on the chat, you're a true auntie. You got the bird coming in from the side. You got the kid running around the back. You're telling them to shut up. And Auntie, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to play a song. You might it's something you requested for your son a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to play Brown Eyed Girl for you.
Yeah, you sing that to me.
I think.
Thank you, darling.
I'm really sorry for your loss, and I'm going to let you go and get some rest.
It gives me strength, darling, to do what I'm doing.
This song's for you, Aunt, and
thank you
for the passing of your son. And we're thinking of you today, and you've got a fair few signatures already since today, so we'll get right behind you.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you so much for your work.
Thank you.